Hey guys, Arkansas Garage here. Today, I'm going to just try to fit different things onto this mower frame. I don't really have any kind of plan today. Let me show you what I got going on over here. All right, you can see the mower here. I'm going to end up putting the engine right around here. I think this plate, I'm going to take this plate off and see if I can maybe fabricate these engine mounts or something back on there. That way I can drop that engine down some. Reason being is this engine is shaft driven, and I'm kind of guessing it's going to probably come out maybe here. I'm not really for sure yet. And also, this is the rear swing arm off the four-wheeler. So what I'm thinking about doing here is I'm not going to use the mower rear end, which I'm glad, because I don't think it's going to be able to handle the power that that engine has versus what it used to handle. It's kind of hard to see. Let me see if I can get over here. Anyways, you see how it's mounted underneath here. I'm going to try to replicate that same thing around this axle here. And of course, you see how this lines up. So I'm going to have to, you know, it's kind of like in the place that it needs to be, lined up here to here. So I'm going to have to try to figure out some type of way. I'll probably end up having to cut around inside here and make a bracket to where all this can mount to. But I think it's going to turn out pretty good. Here's the current state of the foiler. Poor thing. I mean, there's not very much left of it. But after giving it some thought, let me zoom this camera out some. After giving it some thought, I'm going to I don't know. I mean, I want to use the front end. I want to use the swing arms, and I'm not for sure if I'm going to be able to use the shocks or not. I'll just have to get to that point when I get there. That way, you know, I can use the brakes, the hubs, and basically, I mean, it'll be just like, you know, the four-wheeler, but on a lawnmower chassis. Of course, as you can see, the rear end's been cut off. It's kind of laying out here. Half of it's laying there. I know there's probably Honda people out there that are just cringing when they see this. But, you know, this foiler served its life. It's time for it to be reincarnated into something better. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoy this build. I'm going to continue on today. Thanks. Alright guys, I'll show you where I'm at right now. I ended up notching the frame out right here. Drilled some holes. I thought this would be the best way to support this side, because the bolts are going to be going through these axle tubes. These bolts will be going through the frame and through the axle tubes. This side over here, I end up notching the frame out. And then eventually what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably put a bracket, either weld a bracket or bolt a bracket up right here, and then have some hooks that go around the axle, you know, just kind of just like a regular car. Also what I'm thinking about doing is I really don't need this support arm. I'm probably going to cut this off, come over here, cut this off, grind it real nice and neat. As you can see, this drive shaft tube, it's not coming out beside the frame, which I think is going to be great, because then what I could do is I could run the drive shaft down, and then the engine, see, I'm going to be taking this plate out. I'm going to be making my own plate probably, so that way the drive shaft can come all the way down and then connect to the engine, which is going to, well, the drive shaft and the engine right over here. So anyways, that's where I'm at right now. I'll go ahead and start the time lapse back up. Hey guys, I'm back. I was just turning the camera off for a little bit so I can do some thinking and how I'm going to run this front. Let me show you the idea I got for this front axle. So as you can see here, I got the axle on here, the front axle. Right now I have it, this is the bottom like it was originally on the four-wheeler, but I end up flipping it around. This was the front and this was the back. I checked the angle right here on the hubs. I mean, it is the same angle, it's just a little off. Not too bad. I don't think it's going to really make a difference. But what I am going to do is I would like to have these on the bottom, so I might take these hubs off, swap them around, and that way you could steer from the bottom versus up top. I don't, because if it went to the bottom here, as you can see, it's going to hit the frame. I mean, I could slot it and make it work, but I really don't feel like slotting this frame, making it any weaker. It's kind of hard to do this with the camera in one hand, but here you go. I mean, you kind of get an idea of what I'm looking at here. I think it would look a lot better on the bottom, and I'm telling you what, this is kind of funny, but this right here fits into the frame perfectly. What I'm going to end up doing, these are the brackets for the shocks. I'm going to cut these brackets off on both sides. Then I'm going to get this piece of angle iron. I'm going to cut it to fit. I'm going to weld it inside here. Once I weld it inside there, it's going to give me these mounting holes. See, I'm going to take these brackets off and you'll have these holes left over. I'm going to mount the front axle right here. On the back, I hadn't really came up with an idea yet, but I imagine I'll come up with something once I get there. All right, guys, got a pretty good bit of stuff done today. Let me show you what I did. I welded this piece of angle iron like I said I was going to do. Cut the shock hangers off on both sides. I used the existing hole that was in there, mounted it to this piece of angle iron. This was the hard part. I kind of rigged things up here. Let me see if I can show you what I was talking about. All right, so this is a axle hanger that I had from a '69 Mustang that I never even used. What I ended up doing was I got this axle hanger, cut it in half, drilled out a hole right here, bent that over. Of course, you know, that radius is a little different than this right here. Cut it in half, drilled a hole, put it down through there, welded it on top. And as you can see down here at the bottom, let me see if I can get my camera in here. It comes down at the bottom right there. That way I can bolt everything in. I really don't want to weld the front end and the rear end together. I'd much rather have everything able to bolt in. I think over here, let me go grab these parts. I think over here I'm going to weld a piece of Anglo. Let me grab a piece. On this end over here, this is just for reference. I'm going to have a longer piece, but I'm going to have this piece of angle iron right here. And then the other side of this hanger, I'm going to stick there. So that way, when this is welded on, I can put that hanger up through here. I mean, just exactly like a car. I'm only going to have to do it to that side. This side over here, I'm using the bolts for the axle tubes. As you can see here, this is center of the axle. Of course, this is center of the lawnmower frame. Yes, it is off a little bit. It looks like a lot on here, but it's actually like an inch off. So what I'm going to end up doing is, once I get my hubs back on, I'll end up putting a 1-inch spacer on the hub. I actually have some over here. So once I get my hubs back on, I'll put this 1-inch spacer. Well, this is a 2-inch spacer, but I'll put a spacer on here to make up that difference so the rear end don't look so odd. But anyways, guys, I think I'm going to end the video for today and start back up tomorrow. All right, see y'all in the next video. Bye.